What's up, you stupid little babies? It's podcast time again. I'm back. It's me, just me. Jacob's not here. I'm a solo podcast today. Don't listen to that he's not actually here. It's just me. We're going to be talking about a lot of stuff today by myself.
Who's weird if
by
I'm not
myself.
here?
I'm going to be talking with the audience, you, and you're going to have a
how are you gonna
conversation
be doing
back
that?
with me, and maybe you'll hear what I'm saying, and you'll say, something, 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 and I'll act like I heard you, so I'm going to respond to what I think every possible response could be to every idea I put forth, since Jacob is, of course, not here to have a conversation with me.
Why isn't Jacob here, Kyle?
So, let's get into it. Guys, it was a prank. Jacob was here the whole time. Say hi, Jacob, for the first time.
No.
All right, well, your first word of the podcast was no. That was the first thing you said.
Yeah, sure it was. What was I going to say to you? Dang it.
No idea. I was too busy with
my
my
bit. You called them babies.
Those stupid little babies.
That's not very nice.
Well, what's happening is that we're having a conversation, and they're just kind of listening to it. Whether the conversation is surrounding them or it's in their ears, right now, we're the authority figure in their life.
That's what I was going to say. Whatever your watch says, disregard it, because it is, in fact, podcast time.
Exactly.
You don't even look at your watch. Don't look at your phone. Just don't look at it for right now.
You know what? Actually, go ahead and look at it. We programmed all watches to say podcast time.
It's podcast
as soon as you start
time.
listening.
Guys, I wonder what you guys thought of last episode. Balloon Boy. Such a little interesting little tale from the early 2000s that I think is long been untold. And I think it's just so interesting that we got to bring it back to you guys via Milk and Scream.
Yeah, I honestly, truly did not remember that happening.
It's a really cool story. But this week,
we're gonna open up with some. You're gonna learn a little bit of lore about us.
Lore.
I think we've mentioned it in passing in the past.
Yeah, I know we haven't gone into length.
No, but the both of us are very huge Pentatonics fans.
I think both of us are kind of like so into it that we're like retired at this point.
It feels like we're retired. Like people are like, I love Pentatonics, and I'm like, ugh, I've loved them for so long.
Like we're like, it's almost like shaking our little fist and drinking prune juice. We're like, I remember 2012.
People are like, have you heard this song? That's so cute that you think I haven't heard that song. Adorable.
Yeah, I as being a little choir boy, I happen to love them very much. Even though like some of their stuff like doesn't age like with grace, some of it's a little corny. But I think all like choir and acapella stuff has a little bit of corn in it
for sure.
But they just released an album, which they haven't done like in a new album in like quite some time. Am I right?
New album wise, they did their They did that home EP.
Oh, right.
With like 5 songs in it. I think the last album before that, I mean, they had their most recent Christmas album,
right,
which was a couple months ago.
Yeah, but I don't typically refer to their Christmas stuff as like their music.
Okay, then disregarding that, I think the most recent thing is their EP, which technically wasn't an album. It's an EP. Yeah. So I think the most recent album was
it in 2017?
I think it's their pop one.
Yeah.
All their pop covers.
What is it called?
That's a great question for a Pentatonics fan.
I don't remember what it's called.
Who should totally know.
It's like Pop Classics or something?
I think it's literally just called like Pop Classics or...
No, it's Volume 5.
Is that what it's called? I thought they gave it a name in terms of pop. All I know is that it's a bunch of pop covers, and it's pretty good. It's not as good as their...
Top Pop Volume 1.
Top Pop,
okay.
Yeah.
That's a weird name for one of their albums.
It's not as good as their Classics.
No, definitely not.
Album. Their Classics cover is so good.
Woof.
There is
really solid.
Nary a miss on that album.
Not a single one.
You didn't like Somewhere Over the Rainbow that much when they did it, did you? You didn't like the key it was in or something?
It's hard to place it. It's just my least favorite on that album, I think.
Here, I'll give you the key that it's in right now. Somewhere over the rainbow. That's the key they do it in.
Kyle, we just got copyrighted. I'm just kidding.
Oh man, we just got struck by the DMCA, and now we're not gonna make money off of this.
Oh man,
man, all those views gone to waste.
No, I think that one. I think it's just a different version. I also don't like that song very much. To me, yeah, it's just a very
good song.
It's a good song. I'm not gonna say it's not a bad song. I think it's just too good. To where
excuse me, you don't like it because it's too good?
Well, it's like too good and it's too classic. Where like it's not like my go-to song to listen to. So when they cover it, I'm like, oh.
Do you think it's too good and too classic, as in that makes it too generic for a cover?
No, not too generic for a cover. Just the song itself, it's like too generic, and like it's hard to put into words what
I've noticed
what I'm feeling about Somewhere Over the Rainbow.
That's great for a podcast.
You're throwing in little zingers in there, Kyle.
I got to, man.
Little zingers.
I haven't seen people in days.
To give you context, Kyle got exposed again.
Woohoo! I tested negative, but I'm still being forced into my quarantine by the University of Florida.
Yeah.
Number 6 public university in the nation. What?
Yeah. I still think it's pretty cool that they give you guys tests, though. That's like really nice.
Yeah, we get tested every 2 weeks.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, Kyle's fine, but he's just being extra safe because he's a good old boy.
You know how you're a good old boy, and then sometimes you want to break the rules, and then you're like, but I'm a good old boy.
Hey, we already talked about a podcast about that. Wait, that wasn't a sentence.
Excuse me.
We already did a podcast about being too nice and being too good.
Well, we talked about being too nice. We didn't have really,
next week's episode is being too good.
We didn't have context for being too goody two shoes. Too rule following.
Anyways, Somewhere Over the Rainbow. Final note: sucks. No, I'm kidding.
The whole thing.
No, it's a good song. I just don't like songs that are just played too much.
Well.
I don't know why.
All this to say that Pentatonics dropped a new album today.
Right. They dropped an album today.
Friday, February 12th. And
so not Sunday the 14th.
No. I had it I've had it on repeat all day while I was doing my schoolwork, because I've been doing school all day, because, that's my whole life.
Uh-huh.
And it's really good. I'm really enjoying it.
And that's cool.
There are a couple that are like, yeah, good song. I feel like I've heard this before. One of the songs, I can't remember which one, ends exactly like one of their old songs. And if you heard the ending, I can't remember which one. I think it's Love Me When I Don't.
Mm-hmm.
It ends, and I can't think of the other song it ends with, but it's the same key, and it's the same like vocal harmonies that edge out the song.
Yeah.
It's the exact same as some other songs.
So, like, this is another reason why my Pentatonics love is not as it was when I was. First of all, I've just grown as a person, so like my music taste and stuff has grown, so it's not as like quote unquote generic or whatever. Like, just being honest,
right? Same here.
I love their complexity, and I love like how they come up with new ideas. But knowing them as people, like knowing who they are and like what they like to do and like how they are, their music does not match their personality, half of them. Like Mitch and Scott, like definitely their music does not fit them. Like Superfruit, like definitely does.
Right.
Like, and that's why
if you don't know, Superfruit is this YouTube channel Scott and Mitch used to do.
And it's kind of like their own musical group too. They did 2 albums of just them 2 singing together, and like it was just really poppy, like electric pop stuff, and it's so good. Like it's really like interesting, and it's their own thing, and it really feels like them. But like Pentatonics at this point, like doesn't it feel authentic? And maybe this new album, again, I have not listened to it because I haven't had the chance. I just got home from work a couple hours ago. So maybe that'll change once I listen to it. Maybe this album's a little more authentic.
I think a couple of them feel more authentic. One of them has, I'm pretty sure, the first curse word that's in a Pentatonic song.
Whoa, guys!
It's the S word.
Whoa,
yeah.
Guys! It's so cringy when they copy like, "Sorry" by Demi Lovato, and they're like, what is it? Payback is the baddest, and baby, I'm the baddest. It's like, guys, you're like in your 30s almost. Like, just say bitch, like just say that word.
That part has really confused me, why they don't just, because obviously I know that they've got young people that listen to them, but young people listen to all of the musics.
Yeah.
So I don't really understand. Do your thing. I don't really understand why they've circumvented it though.
I think that there's a couple more curse words in some of their songs too, like a very few, but a lot of them like they just don't say them, or they say something else instead. Like the Iggy Azalea rap in One Less Problem, when they did Starships.
And he actually says, "I'm a bad Mitch," because it's Mitch that's the one that's rapping.
Now that's actually really cute.
It was pretty clever, yeah.
But still, I when you listen to it now, that's the album that's aged the least gracefully, in my opinion. Like I think it's the second one, right?
Problem is the
PTX 3.
3, yeah, it's the
three,
third.
3 to me has aged the less gracefully, but
all right, I think I can see that.
Yeah, but I'm excited to listen to the new album as a longtime fan. Also,
for context, my favorite song on the albums thus far, just listening to it today, is called "Never Gonna Cry Again." I think it's a really good song. I just think it bangs.
Cool. What's your what? I think we've already done. Didn't we already do?
We talked about this outside of the microphone scape,
right.
But I don't really remember the things I said. But go ahead and ask.
Your favorite Pentatonic song?
It's really difficult.
It's hard for me too, but I know my answer.
It's really difficult. Hold on, I need to. Are we talking original or anything they've ever done?
Anything that I've ever done.
Okay, I need to.
I'm gonna go ahead and say excluding Christmas.
Okay,
that's really, that makes it a little easier.
Right. This is gonna be so difficult. Their cover of Imagine is so good. That's really high up there for me. Excluding. It's really hard. I love Natural Disaster. I love Hit the Road Jack. Volume 2 is just really good.
Volume 2 is the best, I think.
And The Baddest Girl is really good. Yes. It's very okay. What is yours?
Natural Disaster.
Okay, it is Natural Disaster.
That's mine. Yeah.
Yeah, that tracks. Easy. I'm gonna say, for right now, I'm gonna say, "Hey Mama, Hit the Road Jack."
That's your favorite?
That or The Baddest Girl.
Baddest Girl is also really high up for me. That used to be my favorite, actually.
I think I'm going to change to Baddest Girl for now.
Really?
I think I'm going to change for now.
That genuinely shocks me, Kyle.
I feel like it changes every day. I could look at the list and see something and be like, "Oh, that's the best song," and the next day go
also,
back to Imagine.
I think Christmas stuff is more your shindig. So like I feel like that'd be, a Christmas song would replace Baddest Girl if we included Christmas.
It's odd that I've remained a Pentatonics fan for this long when one of my favorite songs, or my favorite for today, is in their first album.
Yeah, I mean,
and that's weird.
I mean, that's not to say their first album is the best, because I don't think it's the best. But there are also songs on other albums that are just absolute incredible. And it's funny too, because Pentatonics is part of our like friendship.
Yeah,
like we've been friends. We've been friends almost as long as we've been Pentatonics fans. I
specifically remember when Volume 3 came out.
Yep.
Because we were sophomores, I think.
Volume 3.
And we always met outside of school with a group of our friends. And I remember walking out there listening to the album because it had just dropped. And the song On My Way Home was playing. And it gets to that part, the first time it got to that part of the chorus was going, "I'm on my way. I'm on my way." That was happening. And I wasn't looking at the names of the songs while they were coming. I didn't realize that they were saying "I'm on my way." And for my initial thought was like they had this African chant that they knew for the song. God. It was happening, dude, and I was like, "Oh, Hakuna Matata!" Like it was going "I'm on my way," and I really thought that's what it was. Wow. And when I learned that it was English words, I actually liked the song less. That's I specifically remember that happening to me and being very disappointed that they were speaking English in that chorus.
So dumb.
I genuinely that's a real memory.
My earliest Pentatonics memory was watching the Wizard of Oz with Todrick Hall. It's the Oz is obviously AHHHS, like That's another really good one. That's incredible. And it's really early Pentatonics too. So like this when they were really in their heyday, and that's like my earliest like viewing of them. Yeah. And I knew they were on the Sing Off, which is a cappella.
Yeah, I watched them win the Sing Off because it always came on right after The Voice, and that's when I was super big into The Voice, is when they were on the sing off. I remember watching them win and being like, oh, I gotta follow these guys.
They're just they're legends, acapella legends for sure, and like pop legends too. They've won some Grammys. They did like the Star Wars medley at the Grammys one time.
Oh, it was so good
live. Like that's so incredibly hard to do, and it was really done well.
If back to the previous question, if we add Christmas music, is your favorite "Do You See What I See" with Whitney Houston?
Ooh, that's so hard.
Because if you haven't listened to "Do You See What I See" that they did with Whitney Houston, because this is after she passed away, but they had the rights from her agency to do the song with a track of her singing it.
Oh my god!
And if you have not heard that song, honestly, go away for a couple minutes. Go listen to that song, then come back. Hold on, we'll wait.
Yeah, we'll wait approximately 4 minutes and 32 seconds. I think that's how long the song is.
All right, and hopefully you paused when I told you to pause, and now you're back. Isn't that song incredible? It's so good. Whitney's one of the best.
Yes.
It's such a good song. All the Christmas albums are absolute bangers. They're so good. Although their most recent one had probably like 4 Christmas songs and then 7 songs that were not Christmas songs, but they were there. It was a very weird Christmas album.
It makes me so sad when they do that because I'm just like, guys, please.
There's so many they haven't done.
We did a whole list of the songs they haven't done for Christmas.
And over days after that, I thought of so many more. I never wrote them down, but there's probably still a good 15 that a lot of people would know. Oh, what was one? What is the Christmas song where you want to? It's like the branches on the Christmas tree.
Christmas tree.
Yes, thank you. I couldn't remember the name of the song. I couldn't remember the song.
Are thy branches?
Yes, thank you.
We sang it in chorus.
I couldn't remember the name of the song.
We practiced it for 5 months.
I'm in a very tired headspace. All right, they haven't done that song.
They haven't done Blue Christmas.
They haven't done Blue Christmas.
That's my favorite Christmas song, and they haven't done it. I really want them to do it.
And there's a couple bangers from some of those old claymation, stop motion movies that they could do. There's quite a few songs they haven't done. Yeah. But Blue Christmas is the one I want to see the most.
Back to the question at hand. Yes. I think that definitely does take it.
Whitney Houston.
Because it is just so well done.
It's so good.
Another really good one. Okay, we're not going to talk about Christmas because that's just out of season.
All right.
That's done. But Pentatonic's new album. It's called The Lucky Ones.
The Lucky Ones, yes.
That's the album title. Give it a listen if you like a little acapella in your life.
And you were saying that they were, legends of acapella, and they won the sing off, and they had this, this fan following, obviously. Yeah. And then some amount of years later, 2015 or maybe even earlier, Pitch Perfect came out, and then acapella love just boomed, and Pentatonics was kind of they were already the front runners. They just recently won the sing off, and they had the biggest following of any of these acapella groups, and so they just spiked and got super popular super quick, and the true people have stayed around for all these years. I don't know if they would be as successful without Pitch Perfect happening.
No,
honestly,
it was really good timing, and I think that you have to give credit to their talent too, because they're so incredibly talented.
When they were on the sing off, when it was like Avi was an incredible bass, and Kevin is one of the best beatboxers there is.
What made them special too is because some of these acapella groups that were on the sing off had like 20 plus members.
Exactly.
And they are 5. That's it. And they had the better sound with 5 people.
Yeah, and that's what the judges would always say too. They would get done with their thing, and every single time, I forget who the judge was, but he would always call Avi and Kevin the meat and potatoes of the group. Every time they did a performance, they're like, you guys have literally 25% of the amount of people and just as much sound, if not more, because a large part into Avi and Kevin. Insanely talented.
I'd also like to point out, only one of us has ever seen them live.
I really wanted to go. Yeah. And even if I do see them live now, it won't be with Avi.
Yeah, I saw them live before Avi left the group in 2017.
Which, don't get me wrong, I love Matt. Matt's done a fantastic job.
Matt's the new bass for those of you who haven't checked in for a while.
Yeah, quote unquote new. He's been there for like 4 years now.
A little less than that. Because they went for like a whole year without a bass. He like 3 years, I would say. It's 2021. I keep forgetting that.
Yeah.
It's not 2018 anymore.
No, it's 2021.
So yeah, like 3 years. But yeah, 2017, seeing them live. I still have tons of videos from that show. I saw them in Pennsylvania. It was Whew, so good. So much fun.
I guess if you've never listened to Pentatonics before, you know what? Just binge through their albums and then work your way up to this latest one. Yeah. Just to hear their evolution. Start with the sing-off songs and then go into the albums up to here.
That's
and
a lot of work, though.
Listen to the evolution.
Okay, let's give them 5 songs.
Oh, okay.
Just to give them songs that everyone will love. Okay.
We can't give them all bangers though, because then they're gonna listen to everything else and be disappointed.
No, I feel like if you give them the bangers and then they go and listen to everything else that's more complex and more nuanced, they'll like it more.
All right.
Okay, 5 songs. Ready? Imagine.
Yes, listen to Imagine.
Hallelujah. That's a must listen.
Yeah, technically their Christmas album, but it's not a Christmas song.
Yeah, it's not a Christmas song. That's why I put that in there.
I'm here for it.
Natural Disaster, like one of our favorites.
Okay, I'm here.
What
about? Because one of their big ones when they first started was Somebody You Used to Love.
Somebody I Used to Know.
Somebody Used to Know. Yeah.
Okay, that one, and then one more. What
should be the 5th one? Should we choose any? We should maybe choose something from their
new album?
Not their new album. The other one they had in like 2015.
Oh, the classics?
Yeah. No. The one that was some originals and some covers that I thought was all originals, but it wasn't.
Hold. Let me go to that album real quick.
Cracked is really good. The one with Jason Derulo is really good.
But I want a specific one. Can't Sleep Love.
Easy. Oh, Can't Sleep Love. Yes.
Okay. Imagine, Hallelujah, Can't Sleep Love, Natural Disaster, and the other one.
What else we said?
This is recorded.
Somebody I Used to Know.
Somebody You Used to Know. There you go. So our little Pentatonics rant. I know some people may not like Pentatonics. There's it's too corny.
Yeah, some people are just not here for acapella.
But it means a lot to us as little guys. It's been a part of our friendship for a long time. So we just want to talk about it a little bit because they had a new album. Congrats to Pentatonics on the new album. We wish you all the best. I know you guys are not listening to this at all. There's no chance.
I said this last episode. Almost every single time we get an episode, we're like, hey, if so-and-so is listening, blah, blah, blah. So you know what, Pentatonics, if you're listening.
We love you.
Congrats. We love you.
Long-time fans.
We don't have enough microphones for you all to be guests, so pick somebody.
Yeah. I saw you in Allentown 2017. I love you. Bye. Okay. So.
Allentown.
Love. Because today, if you're listening to this the day this comes out.
Props to you if you are.
Props to you. You're a true fan. Is Valentine's Day.
Couples Day. Blah.
Blah, blah, blah.
I only say that because I'm not part of a couple. That's the only reason. I mean, if I was in a couple, I'd be like, oh, I love Valentine's Day. Is that true for everybody? Do you think everybody's like that, or
what?
Most people that they hate it when they're single and they love it when they're in a couple?
What do you mean you're not in a couple?
I'm not in a couple, Jacob.
Are you breaking up with me?
If you thought that we were ever going to date in the future, then I'm pre-breaking up with you.
We're dating right now.
We're not
Kyle.
dating right now,
Kyle.
Folks, listen up. This was a solo podcast. And we're going back. It's a solo podcast today.
It's just milk today. Just milk.
It's just your favorite Milky Boy here to talk about love, or at least relationships, and not Valentine's Day specifically, I guess.
Yeah.
But relationships in general. And it's the theme.
The theme. Kyle, kick us off.
All right. I guess first off, we could talk about how long it's been since we've been in a relationship, like an actual exclusive relationship,
romantic relationship.
Yes.
I'm sorry, microphone. I hit the microphone, guys.
We gotta restart.
Crap! We were on such a good roll.
Perfection is the standard, though, so I'm gonna stop.
Last time I was in a relationship. That's a tough one.
Well, high school. Check me off.
You had one in college, didn't you? Just recently?
Yeah, but we were never technically exclusive. That was a whole thing, and something that is not worth getting into. So I guess technically yes, in college I have, but a relationship that actually had a label, high school.
Okay. I think 2019 or 2019. Beginning of 2019. It's my last time. So you've had quite the gap.
Yes, quite the dry spell, if you will. Is it rude to call it that?
A little bit.
Is it?
It's kind of gross too.
Indecent? Is that the word I'm looking for?
Not indecent. It's just kind of gross because you think about like moisture in life. You're kind of just in the desert. It's kind of a weird analogy.
Do you hate the word moist? Are you one of those people?
Nah.
All right, we're gonna use that word a lot today, just for fun.
We're gonna talk about moist and Valentine's Day.
We're talking about a moist Valentine's Day. We're combining the two.
So gross. Let's not ear rape our fans.
I don't think that's indecent. We can't call it that.
There's no other word. What am I supposed to use? Ear assault.
There you go. Look at that. You found one in 2 seconds.
Well, that was 2 seconds too long. I needed because the joke needed to land right away. Sorry for those of you who don't like that word. I apologize. All right now.
Moist.
Not that word. The other one. The other one I used.
Assault.
Sure. Whatever. Moving on.
I'm sorry.
What's your point? It's been a long time for both of us. What's your point?
Well, do you think?
Why shouldn't we date?
I don't want to.
All right.
That's reason enough. Do you think? Speaking of reasons, do you think that there is a specific reason why it has been that way for us? Because obviously we've talked about this before. We were dating people in high school during our senior year. And then after that, you've dated 2 people, right? After that?
I mean, on and off. I'd say a total of 4 people.
Okay. Well, that's a pretty good ratio. 1 per year after high school.
They all kind of clump together. I don't know what it is, but they all really do like clump together. They're kind of all in the middle. Pardon me. But yeah, even since beginning of 2019 is a long time since you've been in a relationship. I know there's like specific like quote unquote needs you have in a relationship, like just companionship and like all that stuff, like touchy feely stuff that we don't really need to get into. But for me, the biggest thing that I miss is companionship and like having someone to like be closest to at all times.
Right.
Like even with you, there are things I don't bring up to you. Like
and same here.
And same there. I mean, do I wish that we would get closer? Not in a weird way, but just get closer and like open up to more, of course. But I think there's, just as men in general, there's just always going to be some kind of barrier between that.
Yeah, I'm a feelings closed off kind of guy.
You sure are.
I keep that crap way down.
That little tight.
Tight.
So, I mean, and I tend to be more emotional, and I tend to vent more, and that pushes my bros away. I gotta admit, a lot of people who I have been close with in the past, I can tell that that's probably the reason why. But like I say, that's the thing I miss the most, is having someone to like be able to share my emotions with. Do you feel like you can share your emotions better with a female than a male?
Yes.
Is that why you don't like talking to men?
I don't talk to anybody about my feelings. It's not like it's not that that I don't share my feelings because you know that you're a friend of mine that is a man.
Mm-hmm.
You should know that I don't share my feelings with you because you're a person in general. Mm-hmm. I just don't share my feelings with any people or animals. I just don't.
Is it like why do you think that is? I'm just curious.
It's hard to say. I mean, it's easy to come up with theories, but it's hard to have a definitive reason.
Let's theorize.
I think
if you don't want to, it's cool.
No, I'm definitely down for it. Reason A, or theory A, I guess. Especially the way I was raised. If you knew me as a child, I was incredibly sensitive. I would cry if I fell over, and like if my older sibling or my younger sibling or anybody was mean to me, I would get teary-eyed and I complained about it to anybody who would listen. And my dad was very, stop that, you're being obnoxious and I don't like it. So I guess at some point I just decided I wanted to stop crying and being sensitive to little things, and I think I overcorrected, and I'm sensitive to nothing now. And I've pulled back some, but I just don't share my feelings because I keep that crap down. I could probably count on one hand the amount of times I've cried in the past 5 years. I just don't cry about anything. I don't cry at movies. I don't cry. I legitimately do not think that I've ever cried at a movie. Like I said, maybe when I was younger and was more sensitive, but I don't remember it. I just don't do it.
I really want to see you cry at a movie. I want to be there when it happens.
You would have to make a banger movie. It would have to be a real life shot for shot documentary of all my friends being blown up. And then I'd cry. For sure I'd cry at that.
That would make me cry. That would make me shocked.
I would for sure cry.
Okay.
Just a lot. But I'm saying that's the magnitude it'd have to be in terms of in terms of getting to hit home for me, cuz a bunch of people could blow up in a movie. But if I have no ties to any of them, you could have 3 hours of this movie to build up each individual character and really make me feel like I know them. I'm not going to cry at that movie because I legitimately have no ties to them, and my brain is like, fiction, whatever. Right. Or even if it's a retelling of a story, already happened. I don't cry over spilled milk, you know?
Yeah.
So, reason B that I don't share my feelings, or theory B, is back to us being too nice. I'm not going to make my problems somebody else's problems. So they for sure don't want to hear about it. They'd be more than happy to help me with my feelings, I'm sure. But there's a part of them that doesn't want to hear about it, so I just don't give it to them.
There is something to that, and I've always wanted to entertain this thought with somebody, because I have been that burden for people. I know I have, and I'm really careful to who I do it to now, because my friends and my significant other, whoever they may be, are not my therapist, and that's something I feel like it's very important that you know the distinction, because of course they are there to be there for you, right? Good friends and good partners are there to support you and help you and listen to you and help you and be that that voice of reason and
be that rock that you need.
Exactly. But they are not especially your friends. I feel like this is an important thing for friends and relationships in that way. You should not be dumping your problems onto your friends unless you and that person have a special relationship, a special bond. I've had this issue before where I feel like I can go to somebody and I tell them all my problems and I just keep doing it, and I overexert myself on them, and I push them away, and gosh, it's the worst. I never want to do that. So now I'm kind of overly cautious about sharing my feelings with other people. If I get asked a sensitive question at the workplace, or if I'm hanging out with friends, and I really choose my words carefully because I don't want to go into some crazy bender, expository mess about my life or whatever, my dumb problems or whatever. And of course I really feel bad when I do that in general.
Do you, when someone asks just the general question how are you, do you ever answer that honestly, or do you just kind of always go for I'm good, how are you, or I'm all right, how are you, I'm tired, how are you?
This is a hard one. I do think there's a very funny bit that Tom Segura does about
I know the one
about this question. It's in his most recent special. I love Tom Segura. He's such a funny guy. He basically says there's two answers to that question. Good and I'm fine, I think is what he says. You say good whether you're doing amazing or just okay, and I'm fine is reserved for everything else. You burden someone else with your problems in a pleasant exchange, you're a jackwagon. That's what he says. For a little more vulgar than that, but you get the idea. I tend to answer it semi-honestly, if I'm in a bit of a rush and I don't have time to, entertain that conversation, I will normally say good, which most of the time if I'm with other people, I'm good. Like especially if I have like if I'm in like a social area, like heck yeah, I'm good. I love being around people. So normally I'm like, I'm good. And I can tell it also depends on the person too. If it's someone that I want to just like if it's someone I want to kiss up to, I'm always good. I'm not gonna tell them I've bad.
Literally never had a bad day. Promote me.
I'm good at or if it's I would never say, oh gosh, woe is me. But if it's someone who
I don't think anyone would say that. How are you? Oh, woe is me.
I just think if it's somebody who's genuinely asking me how I am or if you're okay or like anything like that, I'm gonna be honest and be like,
right.
I'm not doing okay or like that.
Yeah, and that's another thing. Going back to like specifically to relationships and significant other relationships, not just, having other people around, but specifically to significant other. It would definitely take me some time, even when they're genuinely asking me, to give a genuine answer. Like if I started dating somebody, right? Like we went on a few dates and decided, boom, we're exclusive now. 2 weeks in, at some point, they ask, how are you? Genuinely. 2 weeks in, probably not going to answer that super honestly. I'll probably give I'm pretty good. My day was good. And then probably a month in, I might give a little more information, but not much. I'm all right. This thing happened today, which kind of sucked. And then they'll be like, oh, you want to talk about it? I'll be like, no, it's fine. I'll get over it. And I'd probably say that at 2 months. And I'd probably say that at 3 months. It would take me a while to actually be like, do you want to talk about that thing that sucked? For me to say, yes, I do. Let's take legit maybe 10 minutes to bang this out and why it sucked and what I can do in my brain about it. It would take 10, 15 minutes, depending on the situation, of course.
Yeah.
But it would probably take me like 3 months into an exclusive relationship to actually be like, yes, let's unpack this.
Do you think there's because I don't think there's trust issues with you, like when talking to people like that.
No, I definitely am a person that immediately assumes that everybody is good until the opposite. I know there are people that just kind of assume that humanity just kind of sucks and that people are just kind of the worst, and then they let them build goodness on top of their baseline of garbage.
Right.
I'm the opposite. I don't assume everyone's perfect, but I assume everyone has a fairly decent amount of goodness that they automatically display. And then if somehow that standard is not met, I don't want to call it a standard,
right?
But
I see what you mean.
Expectation of goodness, I guess. If that typically isn't met, then, it starts getting chipped away. Rather than piling good on garbage, I chip away goodness that isn't there.
Yeah.
So I don't have trust issues, to say all that to say. I don't know. I think it has to do with love languages. Do you know what those are?
Yeah, semi.
Because if you don't know, there are 5 love languages, and people typically have like a top 2 that kind of outrank the other 3. So there's quality time, words of affirmation, acts of service, physical touch, and gifts, giving gifts, receiving gifts. My top 2 are physical touch and quality time. Like if I see a friend, I immediately want to hug them, and I want to spend time with them, or significant other, hug them, spend time with them.
Give them a little smooch.
Acts of service, like you could do nice things, sure, but I mean, I'm also going to do nice things. I guess in my brain, the acts of kindness thing, because I assume that people are decently good, is just about expected. So it's kind of like I don't need that because I assume that it's already there. Words of affirmation, I mean, I'm fairly secure and content with myself. I don't need other people to tell me that I did a good job, or that you did so well at what you just did, or you look great today. Okay, cool, thanks. I appreciate the compliment, but it's not important to me. And then gifts. I love giving gifts, and I love it when people get me gifts, but I don't need it for me to. I don't need you to get me a gift for me to then in my brain be able to say, okay, this person loves me. That is not needed. If you're all right with hugging me and you're all right with spending time with me, those are the things that I need for my brain to say, this person loves me, and is okay with me.
We're ready to get married.
Exactly.
That's why me and you are getting married soon.
No, because see, no.
We hug all the time.
No, we don't.
Yes, we do.
We probably hug once a week, and it's probably you who instigates it because I've had a hard day of school. I'm not. Yeah, I don't really know why it is that way, but we don't hug that much.
We hug. If we don't hug that often, we need to hug more often.
This is a solo podcast, and I want everyone to know. I don't know why this has come up. I got millions of questions from all over Twitter. Me and Jacob do not hug that often. I just want that to be known before he comes back.
Kyle, we hug all the time, and if we don't, we need to start.
Do you just hug me while I'm sleeping and I don't know about it, and that's why we hug all the time?
No, not every day.
Every night I do that, Kyle.
We hug a normal amount. I feel like it'd be weird if I hugged you every day.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. We hug about once a week, like we hug, but it's not, a lot. I wouldn't say that that's a lot.
We do spend quality time with each other, though.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Yeah, so we're married.
No, it's not the definition of marriage. It's what I need for marriage. There's a difference.
Listen, if you want to date Kyle, all you got to do is hug him and spend time with them. But I'm married to Kyle first.
No.
Anyways, so I don't know. My love languages, even though it's a fake thing and that doesn't really matter, probably words of affirmation and physical touch. I'm a very words of affirmation guy. I don't know why. That's my thing.
I certainly don't think that the love languages are fake. I mean, I think they're typically a good representation of what's important to you.
They're really scrutinized. They're like very, very highly scrutinized. But
I mean, obviously, like the questions they ask are kind of geared to one answer or the other. But I think your end result is typically pretty correct of how you actually feel. Like the way that my scores ended up, whatever they were, like physical touch, quality time, are like 14, 13, and the other three were like 4, 3, and 2. And I looked at it and I was like, yeah, that's fairly accurate of how I would represent myself given these 5 sections.
Right.
This is definitely how I would set it up if you just kind of threw those sections at me and said rank them. So I think it's pretty indicative.
I don't know why I'm nodding. It's a podcast. I didn't answer you to them. They can't see me.
That's okay.
I just nodded.
That's okay. We haven't.
An idiot.
We haven't done that many of these for us to have practice.
Gosh, I'm such an idiot. I'm sorry. Please go on.
Do you think that in the relationships you've been in, or just in general, do you think you're good at it?
No. Hell no.
No, really?
No, I'm terrible at it.
What makes you say that? Why are you terrible at it? Give us deets. We're gonna fix you.
I lack some creativity. So when it comes to gifts and stuff like that, I lack creativity in that area. I'm not the best at gifts. There are some times where I hit a whammy, but there are other times where I kind of crap the bed and I get flustered and stuff like that.
A whammy, just for context, whammy is bad. So you've just told us that you give sometimes bad gifts and other times crap gifts.
I thought whammy was good. Like whammy.
No, that's why the game show is no whammies, no whammies, no whammies. Because you hit the button and you hit a whammy and you lose all your money.
I thought whammy was a baseball term.
No, I mean I'm sure it's in baseball somewhere, but whammy is typically bad.
Can I look up whammy real quick?
Go ahead.
I would just like to be clear because maybe there's multiple definitions.
I'm sure there's an arcade game that when you hit a home run it goes whammy. But
whammy.
The actual, a whammy is typically something that is bad.
Yeah, it says an event with a powerful and unpleasant effect.
Yeah.
A blow. I think I'm thinking of Anchorman when that guy, what's his name? The over-the-top sports guy. I don't remember his name, but he goes whammy.
Yeah, he thinks it's good.
Well, I thought it was good too.
And that's part of the humor is it's bad.
Well, okay. Well, I didn't want to say home run because that's the best you can do. I hit a triple. I don't know.
I rounded most of the bases with that gift.
Gosh, can you tell I love sports?
Oh yeah. So
lack creativity.
Lack creativity.
Oh gosh, that's a big blunder of mine. I happen to be incredibly awkward. So starting the relationship and starting like that, like, you know, what I would call the honeymoon phase,
right,
is typically difficult for me.
Starting as in once you're in the relationship, that's hard, or just instigating the relationship to begin with?
A little bit of both. The start of a relationship, definitely. I feel like I have to be really good friends with somebody in order to start dating. And
yes, I really, and this is something I wanted to touch on at some point, I really don't know how people do the whole online dating thing. That boggles my mind.
Well, I think that you can develop real relationships with people doing that.
I do too, but on a personal level, I could not go on a date with somebody, you know, that met online, and then after a couple dates be like exclusive with this person. Like, I would definitely need to know the person for a time before I was like, now I want to date this person. And I get that that's what dating's for.
Yeah.
But I've never been on a date with somebody that I wasn't already exclusive with. So that's never been part of my wheelhouse. Like, I don't have the arsenal of take random person on date and see if I like them. That's not in my quiver.
I think your issue is that you're looking at this as a one-way road. Like, you have to be on this specific road to get to your destination. I feel like for other people, and I think you're very capable of this, I think you just haven't tried it. There are many ways you can meet your SO. Like, many, many, many different ways. And I feel like your way is, okay, I got to become really good friends with this person, and then I got to do this, and then I got to do that. It's like, if you knock down those barriers, if you're like, hey, I'm open to anybody, I'm open to, you know, the awkward first couple dates and getting to know them, and even if, you know, there isn't a title, you're just being really good friends from there and going on, like, that's how you... Maybe that's why you're not married yet.
Of course, yeah. The only reason I'm not married.
Another thing.
Another one.
I am really bad at getting the signals.
Dude, don't even... I have no idea.
I'm oblivious.
I have been informed a couple of times where I've actually had conversations with one or maybe two different girls where we both liked each other in the past. And I'm not one to give off signals. I'm sure it's obvious when I'm around them sometimes.
Yep.
But I don't do it on purpose.
That's problem number 4. I'm very obviously into them, and they are like, if they're reciprocating onto me, or if it's someone who is giving an unwanted advance, I'm oblivious to it. I don't know what.
I'm gonna backtrack. I'm definitely obvious. And from my understanding, there have been times in the past where a girl that has liked me has also been very obvious. Like, someone be like, oh, she's so obvious around you. And every time I'll be like, I legitimately think that you're lying to me. I think this person has told you that they like me, and I think you're telling me that. I think both of those things are true, and I still think you're lying because I legitimately don't see it. And I'll even pay attention afterwards and not see it and be like, good prank, guys, and never talk about it.
I'm going to talk to the girls for a second, because this is something we've talked about in the past.
Listen up, ladies.
Don't say that again.
Listen up, ladies. Go ahead, Jacob. They can't see your face of disappointment.
This is a solo podcast.
With me. Go away.
Why do you take our hats?
Of all the things I thought you were gonna say, that was very bottom of the barrel.
Why do you take our hats when you're flirting with us?
But is that not kind of cute?
Yeah, but why? Number 1, why does it work? And number 2, why do you do it?
Okay. I think it works for a couple of reasons. A, it shows that they're okay with at least getting close to you in some capacity. So, good job. You don't smell bad.
You're just overanalyzing the question.
B.
Also, I asked the ladies. Are you a lady?
Are they here? Jacob, look around. Do we have our significant others that we're asking questions about because of our relationship dynamic? No. You know why? Because we ain't got them.
Well, we did until you broke up with me.
You know what the closest thing we got to a lady is? Me. Somehow.
Go on.
I don't know. They're okay with, they want something of yours to be with them for a second. And I think on some level in our dumb little monkey man brain, we're like, she wants my clothes to not be on me and instead be on her. Monkey man brain says that that's good.
We're so stupid.
Also, all pheromones are released out of the top of the head. So if she sniffs the inside of your hat, then she's part of your pheromones.
Probably gonna be grossed out.
But that's more of your pheromones that she's got too. See, that's science, baby.
Like, I know why they take our jackets. That makes sense.
Because they're cold.
Because they're cold. Women are typically chilly. But but the hats. What's up with the hats? They always take the hat. That's so weird.
I don't know. I remember. This isn't a hat thing, but when you asked that, it was the first thing I thought of. I was 13 or something in church, and I had a tie on, and a girl who I had liked at the time, who I don't think liked me, but I thought she did because of this instance. She was much shorter than me, and I had a tie on, and she grabbed my tie and like pulled me, and so like, you know, like my face came down to her face level, and she just kind of pulled and then laughed and, you know, was like, haha, go back to standing up, idiot. And for some reason, her
flirting in middle school is so weird.
I know, but like her pulling my face down to her face level via my tie.
We need the
for some reason, in my monkey man brain said, she likes me.
We need the soundbite of Papa John saying that turns me on.
Appropriate for middle school flirting.
That turns me on.
But man. Yeah, why hats? I know I gave 3 very good scientific reasons, but why
that can't be it. It can't be that simple. It's got to be. Also, if you're listening to this and you want a man to fall in love with you, take his hat from it.
Take his hat.
You have to take it from the top of his head. You can't just like go in his room at night and take it. Like that's robbery.
Or if he's already taken it off and it's this will still work, but it won't be as effective.
It's not as effective. Exactly.
If their hat is already off and next to them on a seat or whatever, and then you take it and put it on, somewhere in that monkey man brain is gonna go,
hey, that's my hat.
That was my hat. That was kind of cute. You take it off of the dude's head, and he's like, oh, that's my hat. That was super cute, and this is great. What a great day this has been.
Why does that make sense? Why does that make sense?
I don't know, but
I'm laughing right now thinking about a girl taking my hat.
All the words that I just said made perfect sense, and there's no reason that it should make sense.
So should girls stop taking our hats, or should they continue?
Girls should continue taking hats. It's probably the easiest signal to read. It's a very physical signal that you can't misinterpret.
It just confuses me as to why it works. But whatever.
I don't know. Like I said, I already tried to give the science, but there's no. Love isn't a science.
It kind of is. It's just
love
like
is a 4-letter word.
It's like 3 chemicals, and that's it. Isn't that crazy? Love's like 3 chemicals in your brain. And like one of the chemicals is the same chemical you feel when you like murder someone. Like it's just the same. It's the same chemical in your brain.
Gross.
Yeah, disgusting. It's really bizarre.
So I guess we went on like 8 tangents, but all that to say, you don't think you're good at relationships?
No, I think I'm awful at them.
That surprises me.
I'm forever. Well, I think you just have this notion that I'm just super smooth guy. That's like really.
I definitely don't have a notion that you're a super smooth guy.
You've literally told me that before. You're like, Jake is smooth. I'm like, I'm not. It's just.
It definitely happened. Like there are definitely instances or relationships that have started or stories that you've told where I'm like, Jacob got moves. Jacob said words in good order for lady.
You specifically have said that.
Yeah,
Jacob got moves.
Yeah. So that's definitely happened. But in terms of already being in a relationship, my notion for you specifically isn't then he's still super smooth in this. My notion, I guess, for you then is I know that Jacob is a good person and a good listener, and that's a pretty good start. So I feel like he's gonna be okay.
That's like the only 2 good things about me. Everything else is kind of like, it's all right. I can listen. I got ears. So if you want to talk, that's cool. But everything else is kind of like, it's all right.
I think.
What about you, Kyle?
I think I'm decent at them. I think being in a relationship at its core level, super easy.
Easy?
At its core level, when you think about what needs to happen for you in a relationship is listen to them, spend time with them, like actually being present when you're with them.
Have you ever
a couple, you know, a couple little nice little nuances and quirks here and there.
Have you ever been with someone and realized that you don't like them?
Like been with them in a relationship and then realized no.
Okay, that's when relationships start getting hard. Because what happens is you're in a relationship with somebody and the first couple months go by and you say, hey, this is great. You start bonding with this person, and at like month 3, you start, you know, doing the thing. You're like, yeah. And then they do something. You're like, whoa. Okay, that was weird. But we're gonna keep on going. And then you're like doing this dance. I'm doing a dance right now, guys. And then they do it again. Like it do, or it may be something different, but it's like it's jarring. It's like, I didn't know you did that. It can be like they'd be mean to a server at a restaurant, or you send them something like online that's funny to you, like it makes you laugh, and they don't get it. And you're like, I need to laugh with you.
Always.
What's going on here? Like, that's something that with me, I really need someone who has my same sense of humor or makes me laugh. Like, that's something that's important to me.
I think that's important for almost everybody.
Some people, I don't think it is. My mom and dad do not laugh together at all. Like, well, they laugh when things are funny that are happening to them, but they don't make each other laugh. Like, my mom's sense of humor is completely different than my dad's sense of humor.
Do you think that was something that was not really that important for our parents' generation?
That might be true. I don't know. I think that's important for some people, but some people it is not. But let me get onto this, because if you don't break the relationship off, which I think it is harder to break the relationship that you okay, let me put it this way. I think it's harder to break the relationship up than it is to be broken up with. As someone who has been both, I've broken up with people and I have been broken up with. And I think breaking up with someone is hard. It's incredibly hard. It definitely is. You have to have courage to approach someone that you have spent a lot of time with over the months and sometimes years. That's why you have people with unhappy marriages, Kyle. People who go on to get married and their partner is oblivious that they do things that makes the other person furious.
And that's part of why I think the like being in a relationship at its core like is easy, because that's the other thing. Talk about your feelings, right? Like at its core is easy, and then person by person, like for me, state what you're feeling about a situation. Haha, I'm not gonna do that probably ever. That's what I'm saying. At its core, easy, and then person by person basis, not that great for some of these things. You get decent, or you're bad at all of them, or just some of them. So, like I give too much, obviously, because we're talking about the too nice thing, and I'm like, let's do this for you. No, we shouldn't enjoy a day just for me. It's got to be at least both of us. But then, like I said, talking about like, someone did something like 3 months in the relationship, and they do something that you're like, whoa, I didn't know you did that. In my brain, that's never happened to me, where they're like, whoa, I didn't know you did that. That's why that hasn't instigated anything for me. But if that did happen, I'd be like, well, let's just keep going anyway.
When that happens to you, and it's something, because I didn't think that would happen to me. I thought that I would just like, I would A, be able to overlook stuff like that, and B, that I would be able to, that I wouldn't ever have that issue. Like that I'm so accepting that I would never have that issue.
Right.
When that happens to you, you will realize, relationships are not that easy at all. I guarantee you that's exactly what's going to happen.
I don't doubt it. Because I mean, I was gonna ask, because longest relationship, 6 months, folks. What up?
Mine's closer to 2 years, on and off, but 2 years.
So I mean, take my word with a grain of salt. a whole packet of salt. Actually.
A whole packet of salt. Because I mean, Kyle's got knowledge. He got a big head. How long have we been going, Kyle?
Almost an hour.
Oh, okay. I thought we were going a little longer. That's why I was asking.
Yeah, and I got more questions.
Kyle, you're full of them. Go on and shoot me with another one.
Do you think it's true, or do you think it's beneficial, if it is true, for opposites attracting?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we're opposites in a lot of ways. Not in a like relationship sense, but I think just as like friends.
Right. In terms of a relationship sense, what about that? Because obviously, complete polar opposites, that's not gonna work.
No, but I think in some cases, and this is actually a meme that's going on right now. Actually, it's kind of a meme.
Oh, this whole boyfriend this but girlfriend that.
Yeah,
that whole thing. I've seen some of them. I haven't looked into it, so I don't really understand the format of it.
For example, like cold hand GF, hot hand BF, boom. Nice. That's a very good example of opposites attract. It's just the way that it should be. There's a couple more examples on social media and stuff like that I think are very funny. But I think that like someone who is extroverted is kind of attracted can be attracted to somebody who is introverted. Did I say extrovert, introvert?
Yeah.
Okay. I wanted to make sure I didn't say introvert.
Yeah, 100% that can happen. I learned something recently. I say recently, probably close to a year ago, about extroverts and introverts that completely rocked my world because I had this wrong notion of them. I always thought, extrovert equals, outgoing person, loves to meet a whole bunch of people, strangers, cool. Introvert, not outgoing, doesn't want to meet a whole lot of people. And that's not what it is. And I didn't know that literally till like a year ago. So this is just a tangent, obviously.
Yeah, it's postulate.
Extrovert means that you are a person who, when you're kind of down, your batteries are low, you recharge by being around people. That is what gives you energy to keep going. An introvert is somebody who recharges by being alone. And knowing that, I'm certainly more extroverted than I am introverted. But knowing that, I know that A, everyone is a mixture of both.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And B, I always thought with that other definition that I had, I'm 100% extrovert, 0% introvert. I'm probably like 70-30 extrovert introvert.
Or probably 50-50, honestly.
There are a decent amount of times where
I don't know why I'm yawning so much.
Where I want to recharge. I've had a rough time, and if that instant somebody texted at work, pre or post pandemic, someone like we're gonna hang out at this place for this amount of time. We're all just gonna have a jolly good time. Do you want to come? A majority of the time, I'm gonna be like, yes, please. I need people around me. There's that 30% of the time where I'm gonna go, I really just want to be alone right now and watch TV and just lay down for a couple hours and then go to sleep.
Yeah.
So that's just my little tangent of the extrovert introvert thing, because I had this wrong definition for a long time. I feel like a lot of people did or possibly do. So just for your knowledge, that's what those are. Anyway, back to relationships.
What do you think?
About opposites attracting?
Yes.
Obviously, like I said, I think it's near impossible, if not totally impossible, for people that are complete opposites to maintain a relationship. Maybe they could be friends, not best friends, but I think that they certainly could not be in a significant other relationship and last and both be happy in that relationship. I don't think that that's possible.
Okay.
Again, I'm saying with legitimately every single one of their traits and thoughts and beliefs are complete opposites of one another.
Well, I think people like to argue sometimes. So that's just an example. So if they have things to argue about, like if one's a Christian and one's an atheist or whatever, like if one's a Scientologist, if that's what their vice is to argue, then yeah, I think it's possible for them to be in a relationship.
I think if we're talking about everything, like in your case, like if their senses of humor were completely different, they didn't laugh at any of the same things.
Right. I think there are examples of opposites working. Just a funny example: cold hand versus hot hand. Like that's an obvious, cathartic thing for some people.
Yeah, so I think there should definitely be opposites within the relationship.
Tall and short. If everyone's the same, Kyle, it gets so monotonous.
I know. I think there should definitely be opposites in the relationship. I just don't think that two people that are 100% opposite could be in a relationship. I don't think that's possible.
So I don't think you're understanding the saying. Like it doesn't have to be total opposites.
I know they don't have to be total opposites. That's what I'm saying. I think opposites should exist in a relationship.
But you didn't say that at first. Why didn't you say that at first?
My whole premise was that 100% opposites couldn't be in a relationship. That is to say that any other variation could be. I think 100% couldn't be. But there needs to be opposites in a relationship, 100%. Like I need to date somebody that likes pickles. So when I get a burger that with still pickles and I forgot to order them off, they can take them and get their extra pickles. That's great. That needs to happen. I also need somebody that doesn't like French fries, so I can have all the French fries to myself. That'd be great.
Doesn't like French fries.
I want
very specific.
I want all the fries to myself. You know what? If they don't like food, I'm good for it. I want all the food for myself. That's an opposite that needs to happen.
You're crazy.
Oh, I had something else. Oh man,
why am I yawning so much?
I don't know. You've yawned a million times.
I have. I was so hyped for this episode too. I don't know.
Well, I guess we could talk about this. Relationships inside of a pandemic. Obviously, we're both not part of one.
Nope.
But
made it 10 times harder.
It does make it much harder to meet new people.
Yeah.
To try and get into a relationship. Like I said before, a new person in my brain hasn't yet met the criteria for me to want to date them. I need to know a person and then decide that I probably like them and then go on some dates and then be exclusive or whatever. But for you, for instance, meeting new people has 100% been very difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that there is a way that you, or I guess anybody listening, could try different ways to try and start a relationship inside of a pandemic? Do you think that I'm sure there are ways, but do you have any ideas?
No. I mean, besides social media dating, no.
Right. I mean, I know there's online stuff. I think there are forums on the internet where people are just kind of like, here's a Zoom code. Just come hang out in this random Zoom room with these random people.
Discord too.
Yeah, Discord or whatever, and just kind of meet some people. I've read a couple of stories where people literally go on the internet, find a Zoom code, and just kind of join this random group of people, and in conversation with this group, found this person that they liked, who also liked them in conversation, and then they started dating.
Yeah. Just
kind of virtually. I mean, which is very cool.
Definitely.
That's a very cool story.
Yeah.
I would love to just go into a random Zoom meeting, with just random people on the internet and be like, hey, let's have a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I could not just with a person there being a random person to me at some point be like, I like that person. After that hour and a half conversation, we should have an exclusive online date.
How do you know you haven't met the right person?
I don't know.
Exactly.
And
so you're already closing off the possibility. I don't know if I can do it. How do you know?
Because I know that I have met people in the past that I didn't previously know, that I've had conversation with and been like, I like this person. This is a cool person.
Mm-hmm.
But my brain is either saying to me, that's not this isn't enough time. We're not going on a date with this person. Or B, you really want to go on a date with this person? However, too nice brain kicks in, is like, you're going to make this person uncomfortable if they don't want to be a part of that.
Let's set up a scenario.
Okay.
You meet somebody for the first time, right? It's been 2 hours. You're at a party with people. This is pre or post pandemic. Okay. And you're at a party with people and you have basically been hanging out with this person you've met for the first time for 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Then you start mingling with other people. As the party is closing, she says, hey, I really like you. Let me get your phone number. Okay, cool. You get a phone number. You guys start texting. Let's say you text for 2 days. And she says, hey, we should meet up and have lunch. What do you say? She asks you on a date. Do you legitimately, you're going to tell me, you don't have any special feelings. There's no crazy, I gotta have her. You're going to tell me you're going to say no.
No, I'm for sure going to go to lunch with her. But
okay, let's say she says, I want to go to Ruth's Chris on me. We're going, I want you to dress nice. We're going on a date. You're not going to go on that date and give it a shot?
I definitely am. And here's my problem that this has all kind of been built up to. I don't have the balls,
to ask someone out?
No, I don't. I'm very bad at it.
Oh, yeah.
I overthink. And we talked about this before. I'm not scared of rejection. I'm scared of making them uncomfortable and then thinking about the after effects, whether it was a yes or a no, right? My brain goes at all times a million miles an hour. I'm never not thinking about something. I overanalyze. I literally gave 3 scientific reasons to why girls take hats from a dude. Just immediately, because that's the first thing my brain did was say, hey, there's got to be a reason. Let's find multiple of them. I don't have the cojones to actually do it if it's if it's a person I don't really know that well. If they're the one that asked me, let's frickin' do it. Let's go. Yeah. Like, again, this is under the guise of a couple hours, and then we've talked for a couple days after that. Because I at least feel like a couple days, I know them a little bit better.
What if they ask you at the party?
I would probably say let's talk a little bit more. I mean, like I said before, I guess that's what the dating is for. Yeah. But my brain, that's never happened to me, and so I've never. The way that I've always thought about it was ask a friend to get to know them better, not ask a stranger to get to know them better. And so my brain just won't do it.
That's where you're railroaded. That's where you already cut off 8 billion people.
I should expand. You should. I just can't. No, I want to. Oh,
but Kyle,
I want to.
Yes, you can.
That's the one thing I can't control about myself. I can control whether I'm sick or not, because I just stop feeling sick.
Stop. You can't do that.
I do that. I can count on one hand the number of times that I've cried in the past 5 years.
Sure.
And the number of times I've been sick in the past 10 years. Those numbers added together would fit on one hand.
And you're telling me that you can't expand your horizons to increase your probability of meeting someone that you genuinely like.
I can entertain the idea and really want to.
And I believe that you can. If anybody can, you can, Mr. I don't sneeze. I don't get sick. That's
what I'm saying. I can control all of the physical things.
Control how much you poop, Kyle.
I know.
So
I've probably gone through maybe 4 rolls of toilet paper in the 6 months, 7 months we've been here. However,
I think you can do it.
I think I want to.
Maybe
I just can't.
Make that a New Year's resolution. It's the Lunar New Year just happened a couple days ago. Make that one of your resolutions.
The year of the ox, right?
Yep, the year of the ox. That means you got to be like a little bull and go charging into people.
Oh, man, why'd it have to be such a good analogy?
I was going to say something about myself, and I can't remember what it was. And we got caught up in the bit.
Relationships are hard to start. And I guess relationships are hard in general. Like I said, in my brain, the core values of a relationship
on paper,
core values, easy to maintain.
Yep.
And then the second you go from person to person and then add the little quirks and nuances, it's hard.
Yeah. I don't remember what I was gonna say, so we can move on. That's fine.
Yeah, I guess you don't have to love everything about a person. You just have to love them in spite of the things that you don't like about them. Boom. Put that on a t-shirt and throw it in the garbage.
I think you just completely missed the point that I made 5 points ago. Say it again.
I said you don't have to love everything about a person. You just love them in spite of some of the things that you don't like.
See, that's where I disagree with you. I thought that's how it worked. And I think it's just because you have not had this experience that that it doesn't click with you. If there's someone that you meet and date, and then if something happens and something is very specific, there are some things you cannot overlook.
Oh, for sure. But
so you have to be able to make that exception. You can't just be like, I'm going to love them in spite of that. Otherwise,
I know that. In spite of the little things you don't like, then. I'm not going to say all the things that you don't like. Oh, I really love this person, but she killed my mom. I still love them, though. I don't like that she did that. Big thing. I'm not going to overlook it.
Some people do overlook it because they're scared of losing that person.
I know. And I guess I didn't really talk about this. In my past relationships, I haven't been broken up with. I've been the one to do the breaking up. So that part isn't where I would fall short.
Right.
You know, is voicing my opinion about something that happened that I don't like. I'm not going to fall short there. Except how do I say this? I'm not going to fall short in voicing my opinion there. It's just going to be more difficult for me to get my feelings across about it properly. Does that make sense?
It's hard to do it. It's harder than it thinks, because this person normally is oblivious to what is perceived to you as a red flag or like a problem. So if they really are oblivious to it, and then you kind of just have to pull the trigger at some point when it's too much for you to handle anymore. And normally what'll happen is, because I've been on the receiving and the giving end. You'll start seeming less interested, or they'll start seeming less interested, and it'll kind of like slowly build. And you'll, in the back of their mind, they'll suggest it, like, is he gonna leave or whatever? And they'll be like, nah. And then the next day it'll happen. I guarantee it. And once that happens to you, you'll reflect back to episode 12 of the podcast, and you'll be like, Jacob specifically talked about this moment.
Well, the next person I date is going to be the person I marry anyway, so I've already made that decision. I don't care who it is.
So you've...
I'm kidding.
You've narrowed it down between people who you're already close with, or you're going to get close with.
Listen up, people that are listening. If I know you, you might be the person that I marry, because the next person I date, you're getting hitched. You're getting ball and chained. No. The person that listens to this and is a woman. I'll put it like that.
I'll be right back.
They're going to the hospital.
Oh man, Kyle, do we have anything else to talk about?
Oh no, do you have any relationship-esque questions, or not questions? I guess comments or considerations or things that you've thought about, or things that are important that we haven't talked about. There are plenty of important things that we haven't talked about.
Don't have kids.
Have kids. Have plenty of them. This
is why we're in such a good relationship.
The earth needs more people.
No, it doesn't.
We are not close to populated enough. 10 billion by 2025.
Don't say that. That gives me so much anxiety. We're
gonna get some new roommates, because there's not gonna be enough space in the world.
There already isn't.
I'm okay with that, though. I like people. I'm 70% extroverted.
It's time for your favorite game. Is it time for your favorite game?
It is time for our favorite game.
It's called Quibbles.
Quibbles has nothing to do with anything. What do you want to rename?
What do I want to rename?
You know what? Rename Cupid.
Cupid?
Valentine's Day is here. Rename Cupid. Given something just as stupid, but it can't rhyme with stupid or Cupid.
Right.
I'm going to put stipulations on this one.
Wrongle.
Rabunka?
Rabunka? It's Wrongle.
Wrongle.
That's his name. The guy with the little arrow. That's his name now. Wrongle.
Has Cupid always been just a fairy that wears a diaper and shoots love arrows, or has he never had a diaper? Is that like an inheritance Cupid that has come through not just America, but just come through the times?
From what I understand, he's an angel in his origins. So slowly but surely, angels began to be perceived as babies. So that's probably where he got it, because babies are swaddled in clothes, and then because the babies started wearing diapers in the 1900s, so he was depicted as a diaper at some point, and then the Cupid we know.
Where in history, or where in geographical history, did angels start being considered or perceived as babies always?
In paintings.
But why?
Purity, probably.
But babies?
Have you ever looked at the description of an angel in the Bible?
Yeah, they're not. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're not babies. They're not people.
They're not pleasant to draw.
They got like 18 horns coming out of their spine. And there's some weird descriptions of angels, and I think they're absolutely cool. They're just absolutely insane.
So yeah, Wrongle.
Wrongle, the love arrow shooting son of a gun.
Kyle, I would like you to rename.
Let's hear it. I'll rename anything in this game of quibbles. You quibbled. That's what you did. You didn't.
Well, today I did.
You quibbled today. You quibbled Cupid.
Last episode, what was it called? Last episode?
I don't even remember.
Yeah.
I think 2 episodes ago was Terry.
Yeah,
and
we
then
just called the game Terry.
Last episode, I don't even remember. You quibbled Cupid to Rongle.
Rename Dr. Phil.
Quibbled Dr. Phil.
Yes.
Let's see. Dr. Phil.
You can keep Doctor.
I was thinking about keeping Doctor.
Right, because he's not even technically a doctor. I don't think he's got that certification. But go on.
Does he actually not?
I don't think so.
How does he get a TV show for being a psychiatrist without having a degree? I need to know.
I'm gonna check right now.
Immediately before I quibble. Does Dr. Phil have his psychiatrist psychology?
Okay. Phil has never been licensed as a physician in any state. However, he is a doctor of philosophy. In that, he has a PhD.
He has a PhD in philosophy?
Yes.
What? In what good green earth does someone with a doctorate in philosophy then get a job as a psychiatrist or psychologist, either one, and a televised one as well? That's so bizarre to me.
I don't know.
That doesn't make any sense.
That's what it says on Google. There's a bunch of different answers, though. I don't know. Go on. Dr. Phil, what's his new name?
Dr. Cherry Pie.
Dr. Cherry Pie.
His new name. Rongle and Dr. Cherry Pie.
Let's do one more, Kyle. Give it to me.
You know what? I'm just gonna keep the theme of what today, as in the day this was released, is happening. Just rename Saint Valentine. Give him a different name. Give him a different title if you want. You don't have to keep Saint.
Okay.
He doesn't have to have a title.
Can I just rename the day?
Sure.
Okay.
Which I guess in turn would rename him.
Right.
What? It's so weird that we just associate his name with love now, when it was just kind of his name.
Yeah.
Because I don't think it has any roots that mean love or anything. Like a Latin or Greek root or anything, or Roman.
I don't think so.
Whatever. It just kind of means love now.
Kimmy.
Saint
Kimmy.
I never know what I'm
Saint Kimmy.
I'm never expecting anything, but every time you just kind of say something, it just catches me off guard, even though I'm not expecting anything.
Saint Kimmy.
Saint Kimmy.
Saint Kimmy's Day. Guys, happy Saint Kimmy's Day.
Will you be my Kimmy?
I would love to be your Kimmy, Kyle.
I'm not asking you. This is a solo podcast. I'm asking you, the listener.
Kimmy, Kyle.
Will you be my Kimmy?
That's even more catchier than Valentine. we just made it better.
Will you be my Kimmy?
Will you be my Kimmy?
Will you be my Kimmy?
All right. I think it's time to end it.
I guess that's it.
Time to pull the plug. This is the last episode of
We're pulling the plug on Milk and Screens. We're flatlining as soon as I hit stop.
No, we're coming back next week. Don't you worry.
Yeah, we're gonna be around a long time.
Don't you worry. Happy Kimmy Day.
Happy Kimmy Day. Would it be Kimmy's Day? Happy Kimmy's Day?
Happy Kimmy's Day.
Happy Kimmy's Day. Give my love to your Kimmy. Ask somebody to be your Kimmy today.
Yes. Ask someone to be your Kimmy.
And if they ask what that means, just don't even answer. Just
say, answer the question.
Just kind of make them roll with it. Just kind of make them be your Kimmy for the day.
All right. See you guys next week.
Much love. Much Kimmy.